Perfect. So I'm very excited to welcome Lyra today, who has two different stories to tell us. So that's very, very exciting. And it's and definitely as a Canadian, I'm intrigued to hear more about the I think our healthcare systems are a lot more similar than people realize. So I'm also intrigued to hear how everything works and the way the US is kind of set up versus Canada. And because is it Medicare?
Yes, so I am a Medicare health plans agent. That is what I do.
Perfect. And so I guess in a sense of now, I'm just going to ask for my own personal information. Obviously, US citizens most likely know what this is. What exactly is Medicare?
So it's actually a federal government program that is available in the US. So as soon as you turn 65, or actually before you turn 65, seniors will start getting mailers and information regarding enrolling into Medicare. And it is mandatory because once you end up, leaving your job and your group insurance no longer covers you, Medicare is what's going to take care of you the rest of your life. So it's very important that our community is well aware of what it is, how it works, and there's actually different options in regards to how you choose your insurance coverage with Medicare.
Okay, so it's a federal program, but you still are you automatically opted in? Like you said, there's different options. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so you're actually not automatically enrolled into Medicare. You need to enroll into Medicare. So hopefully, if you understand all the basics and how to actually enroll, which, that's part of like all the flyers and the mailers that you get, um, anyone who might be like tech savvy or understands this a little more easily, it wouldn't be that hard to enroll into Medicare. So here in the US, there's such a thing as it's called Original Medicare, which is just your Parts A, which is your hospital insurance, and your Part B, which is your medical insurance. That's the one that gets you to see your doctors, specialists, and have all your like diagnostic testing. Then there's a Part C, and then the Part D is your prescription drug coverage. So the most minimum that people need to have is actually A, your hospital, B, medical, and D, prescription drugs. That's all mandatory. If you do not enroll on time and you enroll later because you didn't realize you were supposed to enroll for those parts, there's penalties that come with that. And that's for life. It's not like one slap on the wrist and like, oh, you need to pay a late fee. That late fee will continue. It's like tacked on as an added like percentage to what you're originally supposed to pay.
Oh
And
wow.
yes. So it's important to like get information out like this because some people think like, oh, I don't need that part because I'm healthy. I don't need prescription drug coverage. But because they delay that and they don't have a valid reason to delay it, like group insurance from work, then later on there's going to be a penalty attached to that. And it's not, it might be small, but in the long term, like when you're no longer working and you don't have that, big income that used to come in, it adds up. So it's very important. And then it's also very, very important to know what's included in original Medicare and what is not. So, for example, I told you Part A is hospital, B is medical, and D is all your prescription drugs. There's no hearing, there's no vision, there's no dental, in any of those. So if you want those things, to continue on, it's either you find a private insurance company that's going to, give you those benefits, or what I talk about a lot is Part C, which is Part A, B, and D combined, but those are from private insurance companies. It's not from our states. But one of the good things about that is a lot of those private insurance companies, it gives you this option, and it's for a lot of times at zero cost to have that kind of insurance.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so it's really good to know what those options are. Some people want to stay with just their original Medicare because they can afford it, because it does get pricey if you add everything up because there's premiums involved in them. Or they choose to add a supplement to help pay for like co-insurances and like that, like, you know, in insurance companies, the insurance companies pay for like 80% of your, you know, your coverage, and then you pay the 20. So some people are fine with that, but for me, like we have a family of 7 and my husband, you know, has work insurance, and it's not always the best. And we had one where, you know, insurance paid 80, we paid 20, but you never know what amount that 20% is coming from. So sometimes
Well,
the bill will be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know going in to check for pink eye cost that much. Yeah.
well, that's it. Or you take that whole family of 7 to the dentist, a
Yes.
couple of cavities, and God forbid a root canal later. Like,
Oh yeah, you'll be on a payment plan for a while. So
I find it very, very intriguing, and I'm not the biggest fan of government, period. Especially in Canada, they're not always our friend. And it is so interesting that this is mandatory. Like, it's something really, really good. It's to take care of you when you're older. Like, this seems like such a great thing. And then they sneakily are just going to hammer you if you don't sign up on time. And let's be real here. Like, nobody reads fine print. I mean, obviously, I've never seen one of those pamphlets, but I can imagine if a lot of people out there are similar to me. What is this? Oh, I'll figure it out later. Oh,
yes.
when I'm 65, okay. And then like 2 weeks into being 65,
Yeah,
you missed the boat.
exactly.
Like, yeah.
So, I mean, like, the great part is you do have a huge window of time before you turn 65 to enroll. So it's basically 3 months before your birthday month, and then 3 months after. So, I mean, like, you basically have like about half a year to get it done. Yes. And they do send, it's called Medicare in You. It's a book that's like that big. So it has all the information, everything you need to know. But, you know, like you were saying, you get something like that and you're like, what the heck is this? Why, like, what do I need to know? So that's where it's like, it's so vital, I think, to have someone on your side. You know, if you have a friend or like a resource, someone who can point you out to an agent who can actually go through all these things, maybe like take all of the information and, you know, and like dilute it down to, you know, the important stuff and simplify things. Otherwise, and I could say this for myself, my dad told me about Medicare as a business when I had my last daughter back in 2018. And at that point, I was able to get everything done, have all my things taken care of so I can, you know, be an agent. But it took me from 2018 all the way to 2023 to wrap my head around all this information. So I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I'm 48. And, you know, I still have my wits about me. I can understand a lot of things, but still, it took me that long to really understand how it works, you know? So I'm thinking about like for seniors turning 65 and they're getting all this information all at once, especially if they've never heard of it before. Because some people will tell you like they don't understand it. They've never really heard about it.
Yeah.
So how much more confusing is it? And they have 7 months to figure stuff out and what's going to work, you know, for them.
Oh, yeah. And I'm just thinking, you know, old me, overwhelmed, stressed. I have 10,000 things to do. And if I got a book, I'd be like, right? I'd be like, oh God. And it's going in the pile, right?
Yeah.
To be lost. And then I would probably be thinking, okay, 65. So I'm going to ignore this till 65. And then probably 2 or 3 weeks after I turn 65, I'm going to be like, wait, there was something I was supposed to do. Let me go look through that pile. Now it's like, you know, my 3 months afterwards is down to 2 months. So my 7 months is now 2. And all of a sudden I'm supposed to read through this. well, I'm feeling stressed out already. And like you said, like there's so many different parts to it. And then to try, like, I'm probably going to ignore that for another 2 weeks just out of stress and
Yeah.
not wanting to deal with it. So now I'm down to like a month and a half and
Yeah.
feeling the pinch. And like, yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, the stress and anxiety of that situation alone, I mean,
Mhm.
your job is so valuable right there. But yeah, like you said, the fact that it took you literally years to understand it all, and someone's going to try and flip through this book in a couple of months and try and make their choice. And then,
Yes.
yeah, again, have you heard of it? Do you know it's mandatory? Do you know all the pieces that are mandatory? Do you know
Mhm.
all the penalties? Like, that's a
Yeah.
lot for something that seems like, oh,
It's-
Medicare.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're supposed to have it. Why don't they just enroll me in it or roll me into it when I turn 65? But
Well,
yeah, it's so dependent on each person's situation. So it's kind of like, how do you want your health coverage to look like as you get older? For some people, it's not that huge of a deal. For other people, their health might be more on the downside, and it's really important for them to find something that helps cover their necessary needs for their
well,
health.
and I think the big thing too is having someone like you on their side to even say, okay, you're healthy now,
Yes.
but what about 10 years from now? What about, what if you have a heart attack and now you need some heart medications? Like
Hmm.
there's so much, and especially if I know personally that when we're overwhelmed and we're stressed, and especially when we have this thing we don't understand and this decision and it's mandatory, we're not thinking clearly. And it's so easy. I'm just envisioning people that would, oh, whatever, I'm healthy, I don't need that. And just to get it done. And
Yeah.
now they're going to do it improperly. They're not thinking of the future. Like, we all want to live a long, healthy life, but
Hmm.
in our 80s, most of us are going to need some sort of medications, therapies, lots of dental. Let's be real here, guys.
Yeah.
Our vision, like, we kind of fall apart.
Yeah. So I know, like, one of the important questions a lot of times that come up, when we have our meetings and we meet the providers and they start talking about their new benefits for next year, everyone's always asking, like, what about dental? What's dental covering? Exactly what's allowed and is it covered, especially like root canals, your crowns, because those are so expensive. And
Dentures.
dental insurances, yeah, it just covers preventative, right? But yeah, so we're always looking like, does that cover more than preventative? Is that like comprehensive, like everything?
Well, and that's it. And especially, again, if you're someone that's never really looked into it, if you just see, oh, 80% coverage dental, check. But then
Hmm.
they don't read further to be, it's preventative only, but your teeth are far past any of that. And now you've checked off useless insurance for yourself. Like,
Yes. So I would say the good news is, just like with any kind of insurance, you can always shop around. So when open enrollment comes or that annual enrollment period comes, you can look at it. And basically that's like this time right now, starting October 15th, annual enrollment is open and it goes till December 7th for us. So this is a time, like, take a look, have someone review your benefits with you and really understand, like, is this still working, or do you need something more? What's going on in your health right now that is actually very important, that maybe you need to see a specialist? Maybe, like, like we're talking about, you need more dental stuff, dental coverage. So
well, and,
that's
and even
that's
to
what.
think of, yeah, like your parents, like maybe your teeth are good now. Maybe both of
Mhm,
your parents have bad teeth. When did their teeth start decaying? Like, this is,
mhm.
maybe it's hereditary. Take these things into account.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Well, and
So
I do have to ask too. So in Canada, we have similarly, like we have our free healthcare. That's not free because our tax dollars pay for it.
mhm,
And
mhm,
politely, it's garbage. And similar to the Medicare, it doesn't actually cover prescriptions. It's just
mhm.
hospital and doctor. No dental, no vision, nothing. So we need
Okay.
to shop around for our own extra insurance on the side.
Mhm,
And I remember I've been self-employed for like 2 decades now. And before I was with my boyfriend, I'm looking for my own insurances. And at that point, I'm in my late 20s, mid 20s. I'm tech savvy. I'm, fairly smart person. And I was like, what is
Yeah.
happening? And I remember I just like, well, here's hope I don't chip a tooth. And I just like slammed the laptop lid down and I was like, whatever, I'll deal with it later. Because it
Yeah.
was so overwhelming. And like, oh, God, insurance worlds alone. But I just think of, similar to being in that state, like thinking of my mom who's in her 60s, and we tend to, I don't know how to put it properly. It's not being closed-minded, but we just don't know all the options. We don't think to necessarily Google all the things. And yeah,
Yes.
like I feel like this is not something you want to do alone.
Yeah, definitely. And I think of it this way, like as an agent, I think we're so lucky, our usually bringing in provider for product with us around to start here. These are the benefits for next year. These are the changes. And we have like 20 different ones coming to the office. So we have our kickoff event, and they all show up and they get 20 minutes to half an hour to talk about things. So we're getting all this information, all these options are being laid out in front of us. So that makes it easy for us to know, like, okay, when I have a client who's looking for a specific something, that specific provider actually has what they're probably looking for. So it makes it easy for us. But yeah, like if you're not in that situation where everyone comes to your door and you have to go out and look for everything, you have no idea what you're looking at. You're not sure how to read what's on the screen, even though it's like just click here, click there. It's not as simple. So I would say, like, find an agent, find someone who can walk you through these things and explain things to you simply and slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because I have to assume again, like each insurance company, like I know my mom we have Blue Cross, and they cover a ton of prescriptions, but they are very expensive if you want to get the dental, or not even necessarily dental, but more like massage, acupuncture, like anything therapeutic. Whereas other was like they tend to provide better coverage in those areas, but the prescription, the dental, the vision is a little bit less great. So it's just like, again, and who has time to like, how many insurance companies are out there? What are all their, and especially I think, I mean, obviously I'm not there, but if you're coming up on 65, again, you're looking at, what does the states have? Like these 401ks and retirement, and do I have rent subsidies? Do I own my house? Where's my mortgage at? Like there's 10,000 things when you come to retire. And I just think, man, like, let's take this one stress for sure off the table.
Yes. Yeah. One of the things I started saying as I talk about my business and what my goals are in regards to what I do for my clients, it's kind of like a tagline now. It's like, I cannot guarantee a stress-free life, because that's going to happen. Stress is always going to come knocking at our door. But at least on my side, in regards to what I can do and how I can help prepare them for, their next how many years, I can take some of that stress off the table.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, it's that you're literally there to think of all those different things that we are not going to think of. But what if this? But what if this? Like, yeah, I just think that's such an invaluable position you have. And there's so many, depending how you've lived your life. Like I know for myself, I've come across people where I'm just like, how do you not know about this? Like we assume everyone knows these things. We assume everyone knows what we know.
Yes.
But yeah, like I'm sure you've come across a ton of people that have never heard of this. They get something in the mail and who knows if they pay attention or not.
Oh, yeah.
So, wow.
Yes.
Oh, so we'll just say anyone watching, this may not be you, but I'm sure you know someone of the age where they need to get in on this.
You have parents, you have aunts and uncles, you have neighbors, your friends' parents. Someone out there is either turning 65 or 65 and older. And, for all you know, they might need help. They might need someone to walk through this stuff with them and help them actually, I call it like solution finding and
I
being
like
able,
that.
yeah, just to be able to look at what they have and figure out, like, is there a concern that they have and they need to find a solution for it. And that's kind of like what I'm able to do, is sit there with them. And if I don't have the answer, I know someone who does. So that's my job, to just, help them with resources and point them in the right direction.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's way more complex than I would have ever thought.
Yeah.
Before we switch over to Monat, is there anything else you'd like to say on this subject?
One of the things I've been thinking a lot about, my husband is probably the biggest one in regards to our personal health and our family. He's always, looking and researching stuff on how to have better health, lose weight, detoxify, do cleanses, like all these things. And he sends me all this info all the time. And, similar to like getting a handbook, right? Sometimes I'm like, I don't get this stuff. But, overall, I would say, as I'm getting close to turning 50, I still don't feel like I'm getting older, but my body tells me, like, yeah, you are. But I would say, like, really assess your current health right now, because as you age, my goal and vision for myself and for my family is that we age well, we age healthy, we age strong, because I don't want to get to that point where I'm in like my 70s, my 80s, and I cannot walk without aid, or I can't get on the floor and get back up, or I can't go up the stairs without being out of breath. Like, those things are so important, and we don't realize that until we get to that point. And it's not going to be easy to rewind the clock back or work extra hard just to try to get our health back. So do what you can right now to take care of your health. Get plenty of sleep, make sure you're getting the right nutrition for your body, because our bodies were actually designed to heal and,
Yep.
do its job. So yeah, take care of
Yeah,
yourself.
and I will say for sure, because my mom, and don't get me wrong, I love my mom to pieces, but she is, one of the baby boomers and raised on a high carb diet and all these things. And she, I'm going to say, pretty much never works out. I work out in a month, probably more than she's worked out in her life, type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's been chronically overweight for pretty much her entire life, does not eat the best. She's an emotional eater, like all of these things that, unfortunately, it's very typical of being a Northwest society female.
Mm-hmm.
She, unfortunately, I will say, especially for her age group, she is the normal. And she's had 3 angiograms. She's just had a pacemaker put in. She had 2 major surgeries, not regarding the heart, in the past couple years. And I will say, maybe a wake-up call somebody who's watching needs to hear it, but the damage done to your heart is done. Like, I have learned so much about the heart and everything revolving around it from all of her whatnots for the past couple of years. And that is the sad fact. The damage done, it's done. And she can work to repair, not repair necessarily, but keep what she has now.
Yeah.
But the pieces of dead tissue are dead. Like, you can't come back from dead. It's in a book. I don't know if anyone's watching or reading The Wheel of Time. You can't come back from dead. And that goes for our heart, right? Maybe pieces of the lungs, if you've been meaning to quit smoking and you just putting it off. Like, there are things we can't get back. So yeah, to your point, if you haven't, it's never too late. But yeah, like, today's the day. Like,
Yeah. It's
no
never
joke.
gonna, sometimes they say, like, it's never gonna get any better than today. Today could be like the best day.
Exactly.
And so do what you can to take care of yourself. Start taking care of yourself.
Even start flossing every day. Brush your teeth.
Yeah, like even with my eyes, I was probably the laziest person when it came to contacts. So I would leave them in. Bad. It's so bad. And every time I would go see my eye doctor, like the week prior, I would be very, very good at taking them out daily because every time I would see her, she was like, "Oh, you have angry eyes. You're not taking them out."
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
and it's funny because that reminds me too of like people that would, yeah, brush and floss their teeth again, right the week before. I'm sorry, the gingivitis does not go away in a week. They know.
Yeah.
You ain't fooling no one. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's it's so good. It's yeah, there's I don't know how to put it correctly, but it's just things you just have to buck up and start doing today.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's important. And I guarantee you, with all the issues my mom's having now, yes, to a certain extent, there is some mindset she needs to work on to be able to, make her life
Mm-hmm.
better and have the will. But at the same time, I bet you 10 years ago, if she could watch her life for the past couple years, she would probably get on that treadmill.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Now that we are a little bit of the Debbie Downer, let's move on to the next part. So tell everybody your journey of Monat and how you got to be involved with them, because I personally had not really heard of them, or had like that casual, like, oh, it rings a bell, but I don't know what that is
Mhm.
type thing. So yeah, tell us
Yeah.
all about it.
I know about it, but I don't know what it is. Yeah. So back in actually earlier this year, I scrolled through Facebook a lot and I had seen a post on there. Some woman in the city of Irvine, where I live, was giving away samples for hair care. She didn't say exactly what the hair care sample was for or how, it worked. But, for me, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I don't mind getting like, hair samples and
Was
just,
it like free stuff?
yeah, it's free stuff, right? She's local to me. And so I'm like, sure, I'd love some. I'd like to try it, whatever it is. And she reached out to me and even offered, she's like, would you be open to me giving you a little bit of a hair treatment, shampoo, conditioner, hair treatment, right? So I'm a mom of 5, and my girls are 5 to 17 years old. Or actually, no, 5 to 19 years old.
That's
So
a big stretch, yeah.
So that kind of stuff to me sounded like spa day. I don't go to the spa, but yeah, her offer was like, oh, I can get like a hair treatment. That's kind of nice. And she's like, bring your kids with you. I can like wash all your hair.
Ooh.
So I went ahead. I'm like, yeah, sure, sign me up. She gave me an address. It's actually at her house. And I got my kids in tow with me. And as we're walking up, they're like, Mom, this is not a salon, right? It's someone's house. Like 3 of them dropped out of the wash my hair line, right? Me and my oldest, we decided like, sure, you know what? We'll give this a try and see how it is. And so my husband and I were very big on checking the labels of our food. We started checking the labels of our cleaning products. And after this, I started checking the labels of what goes on our head. But
Yep.
she did the shampoo and the conditioner. She gave me a nice little scalp scrub. And this is all at her kitchen sink. So it's kind of funny, right? This is why my kids were like, I am not getting my hair washed today. But I went ahead, like when my older daughter was getting her hair washed, she had me go into the bathroom to like blow dry my hair. Whatever she put in my hair prior to me blow drying, that was the quickest blow dry I've ever done for my hair. It was like 10 minutes and I was pretty much done. And one of the first things I remembered, and it's still like every single time I wash my hair, like I just love it more and more. My hair felt very, very light and clean, like squeaky clean, but not like dry clean. So for me, I'm like, okay, what is this? Because my hair has never felt like this. My hair is thick and coarse. It is wavy. It can get frizzy looking, but I'm like, I was so happy with how it worked. And, I was telling her my main issue was thinning hair. And I knew that was normal because, I've had 5 kids. Every single time I had postpartum hair loss. But by the time my 4th kid was born, I was losing probably like 3 chunks of hair in the shower. So I would shampoo and lose a good chunk, condition and lose another good chunk. And when I would brush my hair, I'd lose another good chunk. So, after a while, I'm like, I don't even want to wash my hair every day or every other day because I'm so scared of what's coming out. And, I had been looking online. That was back in 2000, I would say 2015, when I started really looking like what's out there, like what can grow my hair back? Why am I losing so much hair? And, like people I knew in my circles, I network a lot. So they would say, like, you need more vitamins or you need this, product or this product. And I wasn't really seeing anything working. And so she told me about one of the shampoo lines that they have that's for thinning hair. And it comes with shampoo, conditioner. There's a hair serum that actually helps reduce the fallout. So, I figured I'll give it a try. It's all very clean products. It's non-toxic ingredients. In fact, it's based on what's allowable in the UK than, what's allowed in the States.
Yes,
So,
because
yeah,
Canada's the same, where we allow some interesting things.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, I think this sounds more up my alley. And I would say less than a month of using it, I was already starting to notice hair growth. I was already starting to notice that I wasn't losing as much hair on the days that I washed my hair. And my hair actually felt really good. It's probably like the healthiest my hair has ever felt in years. So I was sold on that and
Nice.
decided, I looked at the business model of it too. I know there's some businesses where there's like it costs so much to start up or you always have to keep a certain amount of inventory or something like that. But I like their business model. It works for me. And the fact that it's like I have cousins my age also or a little older. We're all suffering from the same thing. So, it's like my goal is just to let people know what's working for me. And if it works for them too, if that's what they're looking for, give it a try. If it works, then I'm so glad you found something for your hair concerns. And if not, I'm not one to like, no, you just have to keep trying for forever, then maybe it's just not for you. Whatever is happening with, I guess, like the chemistry of the product in your hair, it's just not it. So like, don't.
Well, that's a big thing because when I was Googling it, just to be perfectly transparent with everyone, it did come up that there are lawsuits against Monat for people losing their hair. And I do want to say, for example, so my dad used Head and Shoulders, which millions of people swear by and use this very day. And when he started using Head and Shoulders, he lost half of his hair in a month.
Oh, wow.
So he blames them for all of his hair loss and it never came back, yada, yada, yada. So I think there is that, it's very unfortunate, but like you said, our genetic makeups, our chemistries, everything, we're not going to match with every product out there. So yes, no matter what you're using, like even, for example, like Pantene Pro V or whatever, this is a product, it builds up garbage on your scalp. I know when I used it, my friends swore by it. I could literally feel the buildup. It was disgusting. I have fine, thin hair. It was like within 2 weeks, I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing I've ever put on my head. But she used it for years and she swears by it. So it's like, right? It's one of those like, yes, I mean, obviously you can do your research and stuff, but get to know the products. There's always going to be negative. There's always going to be positive. Again, I personally haven't used it, but what I did research, aside from the people that don't like it, it seems to be really great. Any product that uses essential oils is going above and beyond. And that tells me that they actually care, at least more than the majority out there.
Yes.
And then the other thing I want to just let viewers know too is in my own journey of hair issues. So we live in Mexico right now, and the water here is super, super hard. And I didn't realize this at first, but it is very, very common to lose your hair here because of all the hard minerals literally breaks your hair off.
Mm.
So like we started doing like the apple cider rinses and all of these things, but the point is that there's so many reasons we can lose our hair. It can be the follicles, because even myself, I ball up my hair on my head. I never touch it. Like, how many times a day do we touch our hair?
Mm.
And so a lot of the follicles literally are deadened and become inactive. Whereas if we massage our scalp, we put a little mint oil, rosemary, we waken them back up, hair grows back. So I know a lot of hair growth, natural hair growth, has mint and rosemary in it just to stimulate, right? And so it's just this, it's not, I'm losing my hair, I need this.
Yes. Yes.
What environmental changes? What are your food changes? Where are your hormones? Like, right? So to your point of give it a try, this could be for you.
Yes.
It might not be, but it could be.
And one of the things I would say that I've been looking into more, because, you know, in addition to like how it is when you go see a doctor, they just slap a prescription on it, whatever symptom it is you have, right? You're sick, oh, you're coughing, here's medicine, right? And I am like really tired of having that Band-Aid put on, like get to the root cause of what's going on. So for me, I love the fact that my hair products are actually doing something to bring the health of my hair and my scalp, up there in priority. But
not just chemical whatever's trying to, yes.
But to also look into like what other factors could be affecting my hair loss. Yes, like let's look at hormones. I'm probably in my menopausal years now, so let's take a look at that. Or my stress in my environment could be so high. Maybe that's another reason. Or it's the way I do stuff to my hair. If I'm pulling too hard or like brushing
like
too
my
hard,
boyfriend,
it's breaking my hair, right, and causing like my own damage to it. So yeah, there's like so many different factors that could affect what is happening to our hair, especially when it comes to thinning. And just be open to addressing, like, I love my products, it's taking care of my hair, but I also want to find out too, okay, what other things going on in my life could be the reason why this is happening.
And honestly, I think as a more holistic, natural person myself, just having people of that mindedness in your environment, especially if you've never thought about doing anything more natural or start like getting away from chemicals, even having that one person in your life to just open up your eyes to all the different things. Like, just a random story. I went to my doctor one time because every time I thought I was allergic to apples. Every time I would eat apples, my lips would swell up. And I'm like, okay, this is like really weird. I love apples. I just kind of can't remember why I went to the doctor's office, but I mentioned this as a side note. And she said specifically, without skipping a beat, she's like, oh, you're probably allergic to the pesticides. Try eating organic apples. Then you'll know.
Oh, that's true.
Right? And this was like way back when I'm just kind of, we're just learning how our crops are sprayed, because we don't assume this, right? It's not natural, so we don't assume it. And wouldn't you know, I go out, I buy organic, I eat like 10 apples, life is great. I am allergic to pesticides. Great. Look at
I think we could all be allergic to pesticides.
Seriously, right?
Yeah.
Well, like I said, my body has a very good tell if something is not okay.
Yeah.
But it's just this, like, who would have thought, if I were to go out and pull 20 people on the street, would they actually think about, are your apples sprayed down? Like, a lot of people just don't think about it. You have bigger fish to fry in the world than wondering what's on your apple. You bought it from the store, you assume it's clean.
You like just start doing your own farm in the backyard if you have space.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's really good to even have that one rep or something that just knows more and is into that world more than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Just so yeah, it's really makes the biggest difference in the world for sure. And especially even supplements. A lot of supplements are, you can't even call them supplements. They're
Yeah.
bioengineered, they're chemically manufactured, they're not real things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, Monat has supplements. Like they have quite the
Yeah. So in addition to hair care products, they also have skincare and wellness. So I mainly focused on the hair because that's been priority for me, but it's
that's your story.
yeah. And so but like overall when it comes to anything now that we are putting in our body, on our body, in our environment, it's so important to know like what is that made out of? Because if it's if it's stuff that you can't even pronounce, most of the time my husband and I are like, let's like look at something that has ingredients that we can read, you know. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
and I think it's big to know too that there's a lot of well, I don't know how to be polite about it. There's a lot of trickery happening. And
mhm,
especially right now, like they just rebranded xylitol as birch sugar, I think.
mhm.
Yeah, which of course xylitol is extremely toxic to dogs, and they've started putting it in some of the peanut butters, and lots of
Oh,
people,
yeah.
right? So just to be aware, and even we were at the grocery store, and my boyfriend was looking because we don't drink pop at all. Personally, I don't actually like fizz myself,
Mhm,
but it is like terrifying what that stuff does to us, and I
mhm.
just call it diabetes in a bottle personally, but it's like Pepsi Black. And I'm like, well, all Pepsi's black. So what's the difference between regular Pepsi and Pepsi Black? And we're staring at this because someone pulled it out. We're like, hmm. So he grabbed the bottle to read the ingredients. And I don't know if you remember if you ever read pop ingredients before. It's a paragraph.
Mhm.
Well, they've condensed it down to 6 ingredients, but one of the ingredients is Pepsi Cola product.
Okay.
And I'm
What is
like, what? Right? What is in Pepsi Cola product? Well, they don't tell us,
mhm.
right? So now the ingredient list looks nice and small, but right. So it's just having this awareness of, again, don't just be like, oh, it's nice and small. No, no, no. What is Pepsi product? Like we all know that's just full of chemical garbage nonsense. And
Yeah.
so that's why it's so important. Again, like I know I used to buy an Alberta Rocky Mountain soap. Unfortunately, they added alcohols to their lotion, so I can no longer use them because I have eczema and alcohol and eczema. No bueno.
Yeah.
So, but everything was like it would have its like a chemical. It's no, sorry, scientific. Its scientific name, and in brackets, shea butter, aloe butter, like all these different, and literally
Yeah.
tell you what it is. And so I don't care if it's, 200 words long, as long as it's telling me what's in it and I can read it. It doesn't necessarily matter how luxe, like the one lotion, it's got all the, smellies for Christmas. So it's got like mint extract and vanilla and like all of the, right?
Mhm.
But I can read it.
Mhm.
And I think that's so. Again, I've never had a Monat product or anything, but can people find the ingredients? Are they on? Because I know, for example,
Mhm.
Arbonne does not have the ingredients on any of the bottles. And no offense to Arbonne, I find that incredibly suspicious.
Mm.
So does Monat have them on the?
Yes.
Oh,
So usually when someone wants to take a look at the products and they know like they have a hair concern, like maybe their hair is frizzy or they have like too much oil going on their scalp, I usually set up a cart where I can already put in like recommendations that I have for their hair issues. And then once they get that link to the cart, they can go into the site and they can like browse, add more stuff to their basket if they want. But every time you click on a product, it will tell you what is it for, what are its benefits, and what all the ingredients are in there and how to use them. So it's very great for, you know, people who want to know what's in there. Or sometimes they'll just ask me like what stuff is in there because I'm allergic to coconut oil, right? Or something like that. So I just basically give them a snapshot of the ingredients list. And then, you know, especially if someone's coming in, like I have a lot of skin sensitivity, and like take this list to your doctor and just make sure that it's fine, because
Yeah.
I end up being liable for like an allergic reaction to a product. And then if they do have an allergic reaction, it's like just stop using it. And,
Yeah.
you know, hopefully there's going to be something else out there for whatever.
Well, I found that like even to my experience of, you know, the Rocky Mountain soap is 100% all natural, and the alcohol they put in is coconut derived. It is a very natural product that they have. Unfortunately, because it's a drying agent, I just can't use it.
Yeah.
But it's still all natural. So it's just that kind of, until I called them and I'm like, okay, you guys changed something and I need to know what it is. And then they're like, oh, this is the only thing we've done. But it doesn't, again, it's like having, I had a client, she's allergic to aloe, like aloe vera. I've never heard of this in my life. It's the weirdest allergy, but it's one of those where, yeah, just to be aware, sometimes the products just don't mesh with us. And even if it seems like my Rocky Mountain soap, it is still, I will tout it to the moon. I love it. For all those in Alberta, in Canmore, it's homegrown, right? So you got to promote your, but I can't use it anymore. So just to have that, just because it doesn't mesh with you doesn't make it bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so important.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like some people can't eat grapes. Doesn't make it very bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So now I guess it'll be kind of, let's say someone just has hair issues and they just contact you and they just kind of give you a rough go down of what they're going through. And it's just kind of as simple as that.
So yeah, it is actually pretty simple. Anyone who wants to take a look at the products and see if it's something that, you know, could be a possible match for their hair issues, I send out a little questionnaire to get to know their hair type, their scalp, how their scalp is, and what are their hair goals? Like, what do they want? What are they hoping to achieve, right? And that way I have an easier time recommending a certain product line. Let's say they have frizzy hair. We do have products specifically for frizzy hair. Or, you know, I have one client, her daughter has super curly hair and she used to braid it and like never ever like let people see how beautiful her curls were, because it's like it's gigantic. And they tried our curly hair products, and now her daughter wears her hair down because she actually loves it, you know. So yeah, so I like to do it that way, where they fill out a questionnaire and then I can see what kind of products I can recommend. And they can always take a look at all the other stuff and give it a try if they like something better. Like I had one client, I gave her a choice between having more volume in her hair versus addressing the thinning issue. And she actually liked the volume one a lot better. So I'm like, okay, let's start on that. And then, you know, you can always add on. So if she really wanted to address the thinning issue also, she can alternate, like, you know, times through the week, just use the thinning shampoo line. And then the other times on the week, just, you know, use your volumizing shampoo and conditioner.
Yeah, and that's actually, intriguing too, because if you're not doing your hair up, if you're just going to have it pulled back or something, you don't need volume. So yeah, I would have never thought of something like that, but that's very good. We get those stuck in our little bubbles. Okay, I'm buying a shampoo. Which one shampoo? Like, isn't that funny? Hey?
Yeah. And there are so many hair products too. So it's kind of like, I'm not going to the website and you just go like, I don't know what to, you know, because there's just so much. And you could be thinking like, yeah, I have frizz. My hair is thinning. I need volume. And then you're going to end up with like a boatload of things in your cart that, maybe let's just address one thing at a time and see
Yeah.
how certain work. And then if this is what works for you, then let's do this for a while. Um, One of the things that I loved, and I actually forgot to mention this, is that Monat is very big on scalp health, because if you don't have a healthy scalp, you're not going to have healthy hair. So similarly to, gardening, my husband and I love to garden. You want to get the weeds out. You want to make sure that your soil is actually in good condition before you can expect good plants to come out of it and actually take root and be nourished. So same thing. It's like start with your scalp health and make sure that's healthy so that everything growing from there is coming out and able to grow out.
Yeah, and that's actually a super, super good point, because that's literally the problem here is the minerals. I don't want to say but anyway, it gets like built up on our scalp and literally breaks the hair off, prevents it from growing, yada yada. So yeah, literally, that is,
Yeah.
I think, the number one place. Yeah, I love that. And it's funny too, because even as you say that, you're like scalp health. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think if I have a bite on my head, that's the only time I've really ever looked at my scalp before. I'm like, I wouldn't even
Yeah.
know my scalp health.
So, this year, because it's the 10-year anniversary for Monat, they have a new line to help with, like, they call it scalp comfort, and it was mainly designed for people who have very sensitive skin. Maybe like they get like too itchy, their skin just doesn't feel good on their scalp, but it's actually still a very good line to promote scalp health. So like, we're talking about buildup. A lot of Monat's product will actually remove that buildup off of your scalp, off of your hair. And that is one of the reasons why my hair felt so light when I had my first wash, because the shampoo that I was using before has silicone in it. So I am basically like putting silicone and leaving that silicone to wrap around my hair so I can have that nice, smooth, silky look, when I'm all done. But that's all it is. It's just a buildup of silicone. So when the shampoo actually does its job, it strips the silicone off of the hair and it cleans it.
Well, and then you have to think, like, in that moment, yeah, it does look smooth and silky, but I just think of anything out there, like when you're coating it and smothering it, like that can't possibly be good for your hair.
Yes. Like, how's your hair breathing?
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a
Um,
lot of times when I have a new client and I check in on them after, their products come in, I know it's a funny question, but I'm like, how's your hair feeling? How's your hair doing? I'm like, I'm talking to you. Tell me, how's your hair? Yeah.
yeah. Well, and especially I'm going to assume anyone that has bought your drugstore, non-salon product. I mean, I have no idea. There's obviously going to be good salon products and bad, but especially a lot of people still just buy whatever's at the store. So yeah.
Mm.
Huh.
Yeah, because
That
it
is
gets
very,
what they're looking for. And
yeah.
everybody was like, I want it. Give me the treatment. Put keratin and like silicone in my hair. Yeah, but
The
you don't know.
Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, just a side note too, because obviously these are like a lot of treatments and things like that. Do they also sell like healthy, we'll say, gels, mousses, hairsprays, like all of the extras?
Yes. So we do have styling products. What I love using is the blowout cream. So it works as a heat protectant when I blow dry and when I like use the flat iron or the curling iron on my hair. There's a dry shampoo. One of my daughters specifically likes using it because it doesn't feel like it's leaving residue on her hair and it doesn't get like that white flaky thing going on when she's done. And it's cleaner too in regards to what's in there. um I have used a little bit of it's a curl defining cream because I have waves, but I'm still figuring out like how do my waves actually work. So, I've been used to like using mousse where I just like put it all in and then I scrunch my hair and then I feel like I have crunchy hair the rest of the day.
Yes, I know
Yeah.
that feeling.
Yeah. So yeah, we do have a lot of styling products.
Okay, perfect. Because yeah, that is so important. I think back in my day when I used to use a bit of mousse and stuff, and again, if it's not a good product, it's coating, it's staying, it's who knows what it's doing. Again, it could be stripping out all the hydration. Like God knows what they put in this stuff, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Wow,
think whatever product it is you're using, hopefully the result, your hair still looks natural,
yeah.
that it still moves, there's movement to it, and it's not
We're not
crunchy.
at the 80s.
Yeah. And everything just kind of like you put it down and it just
The
like,
twigs, yeah, twigs are snapping off in your hair, and oh yeah. Oh, I remember.
yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to add? Anything else you'd love people to know?
Um, I think when it comes to the hair care, just be more aware of what is actually in your products and know what that could possibly be doing to the health of your scalp and for your hair. Sometimes like our supply will run low, and so we revert back to our old shampoo, which is probably the closest to clean shampoo that we have. But I can tell the difference. So it's like, yeah, like really take a look at what your stuff is made out of, and
Well,
hopefully it's
and I think
health.
yeah, I think that's super important too, because just thinking of how many of us will look at what's in a lotion. I know people are getting more cognizant of like deodorants because it's sitting on our skin, it's absorbing.
Oh yeah.
But our scalp is skin also. So that shampoo, if you leave conditioner on for a certain amount, it's all absorbing. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think people forget, they just feel like the scalp is this separate non-skin entity.
Nope, that is skin. It just has hair on it, a lot of hair.
Exactly. So yeah, it's so important. All
Yeah.
right. So for both, I'll put all the links and stuff in the description of the video and everything. But how do people get a hold of you for both sides, the Medicare and this? And then do you have anything you'd like them to know, or offers or promos that are coming up? Or
Okay. So when it comes to Monat, I would say there is always a promo going on every week, twice a week usually. There's some kind of promo that's, happens in the first part of the week or the second part of the week to the weekend. So depending on what it is you're looking for, I am sure that a promo will pop up that is just the right one to give you what you're looking for and to save you, like give you a great deal on discount. So the best way to get a hold of me, I am on Facebook under Lyra Medina. There's a picture of me with my daughter on there, giving a little heart. And then I'm also on Instagram. So whatever I post on Facebook just automatically rolls over to Instagram. You can message me on Messenger or on Instagram over there. I would say, like, I don't answer phone calls where I don't know the number. So if you do want to reach out to me on my personal cell phone number, leave me a message, or best way, text me. And then I
yeah,
will get to it. That's the fastest way to get a hold of me. And then that way I can share the questionnaire. I can get a cart link available so you can check out the products. If you want to shop, I can tell you the best way to actually save money so you're not buying retail prices. And if that way actually works for you, then I would go that route instead of going retail. And then same thing when it comes to Medicare. If you are here in the US, especially in California, I am mainly just an agent for California. I haven't ventured out anywhere outside unless I see that, there's a huge need in another state where I can get my license. And then same thing, reach out to me on Facebook, reach out to me on my personal number, send me a text, send me a message. That's like the fastest way. And then I can share more information with them and just get to know too what they're looking for. So together we can find solutions.
Perfect. And I assume then because you're mostly in California, if someone's contacting you from another state, you obviously can refer them to someone in their local area, correct?
True, yes. So as an agent, we can be licensed all over the US. We just need to get that license covered or taken care of so that we can do business in another state.
So yeah,
I know people who are licensed in other states besides California. If I can't help them, I know someone can.
perfect. So yeah, don't be afraid to contact her just because you might not be in California. She knows people. And then if I remember correctly, Monat is global, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So they are based out, they're made in Florida, but it is global. So Canada, Mexico, UK, Australia. I can't even remember the list, but there's like a list of all the different places that we actually can send our products out to.
Perfect. So, that's one of the awesome things I love about being, online and stuff is like, it doesn't matter where you are. This is global. Fill out the form. I'll recommend stuff. Done. Like, it's like Amazon.
Yes.
Just take your Prime wherever you go.
Yeah. And if you're with me, like with Monat, if you are one of my clients, I get to check up on people every month and just to see how they're doing. I let them know, especially if I know what they're looking for, if that special sale goes on. I'm like, I know you got the email, but most people don't open their emails. So I'm there as a reminder. I knock on the door, it's like, hey, just to let you know.
And I think that's important because if they're like me, I get every I don't know, once a month or once every couple of months, I'll actually go through the weeds of my email and sift through it all because nobody has time we get hundreds of emails, especially if you're like, my mom's a travel agent. So literally hundreds of emails every day. So yeah, I think that is super, super important. That personal touch of, you might not have opened this email, but just so you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is awesome. All right. I want to thank you so much. This has been super informative. And I think the Medicare especially is just so, so, so important. So even if we can have one or two people that watch this and can spread the word, well worth it. And the Monat, honestly, the more products we can get out there and the more we can support healthy, green, non-chemical products, I feel like the more we're going to demand more of them. And I mean, that only ends someplace good. So yeah.
And hopefully we'll change how things are being done in our society, that people are actually starting to move back towards what is good for our bodies inside and out, for our mental health and like for our healthcare system also.
Seriously, that I feel like we could go another hour just on that alone.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. It has been such a pleasure. I have learned a ton. And maybe one day we'll have to do it again and update our viewers on any potential changes. Or maybe we'll just get into the products versus long-term healthcare issues.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for having me and just letting me share my story. Hopefully can reach who it needs to reach.
Right? Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great one. Bye, everyone.
You too.